Hello, everybody. How are you doing? Welcome to this Let's Code session. I'm very excited. It's my first time hosting this. Today, we are going to talk about AWS Amplify and how to use the feature of hosting of the Amplify service in order to host your web applications. So we are going to do quite a lot of things today, and I hope that you interact with me via the chat. So I'm alone here. There is no one hosting this with me. So in order to make this more fun, I hope that you chat with me, you give me your opinions, you ask questions, and we make this as interactive as possible. Because if not, I'm alone here just talking to the plastic thing that is my camera. So we have quite a lot of things to cover today. First, we are going to learn a little bit about Amplify and what the hosting capabilities of Amplify are. And then we are going to look at different ways to host applications because not everybody has the same type of requirements. So we are going to host a basic HTML application, then we will go with Hugo, if we have time with Gatsby, then with a React app, and we are going to try a lot of the features that the Amplify console has to offer. Again, this is interactive, so please feel free to ask any questions. If I can answer, I will be more than happy to answer them. Try to keep them on topic because it's way easier for me to answer the question if it's something related to what I'm speaking about. If you have random topics about AWS, there is always around midday, every day, there is always open office from developer advocates. And if you want to chat with me, I'm on Mondays at 1 o'clock Central European time. There you can find me. But for now, we are just going to talk about Amplify. So first, my name is in the screen. I'm Marcia Villalba, a developer advocate for AWS. I'm based in Finland. And yeah, you see me looking like this is because I have like 3 screens and they are all doing different things. That's the thing when you are the producer, the editor, the camera person, and everything in the show, you have to keep the eyes everywhere. So excuse me if I'm not looking directly at you, but I might be looking at my notes or the comments or, I don't know, my cat. But yeah, sorry for that, but I was just to let you know that if I'm not looking, it's not that I'm distracted, it's that I have many screens here that I'm following. So I will put my sleeves up, and I hope you have a nice cup of coffee. I have a cup of tea, but yeah, works. To follow this session, this will be recorded, and you can find it available in my YouTube channel. If you're watching this from Twitch, you can get the recording session later to watch it later in my YouTube channel. But there you cannot ask questions. So, well, you can in the comments, but here is the right time and the right moment to ask questions. So take that opportunity. So I will share my screen, and somebody's asking how I'm doing. I'm very excited to be here, and I'm waiting for all your questions related to Amplify. And by the way, next week we are going to talk about dynamic sites. So if you have any questions about dynamic sites, save them for next week. But for now, let's start sharing my screen, and then I will be... I hope you can see that. And I will change the background there. So you can see my screen, and you can see that I have opened the Amplify website. So instead of showing you a slide, I can show you the product page of Amplify. And here we can see a little bit of what Amplify is. Amplify is multiple things. I would say that it's like 3 things. It's, and you can find the information here. It's a framework that allows you to access different services, either by UI components or libraries that you put in your application, or by creating the connection and the services through the CLI. But we are going to talk a lot about this in next week's session at the same time. So for now, we are moving to the other thing that Amplify does, that is the static hosting. And we are going to cover a lot of these things if times allow us. Somebody's asking, what is a CLI? It's a command line interface. So basically, when you have your terminal and you have different libraries that you can interact, like AWS CLI or Amplify CLI that we are going to see, those are what they are called the CLI. So there are little libraries that you can use from your terminal. So hope that's clear. Oh, I lost my here. So the things that we are going to talk today are basically how to host different types of applications using Amplify in different ways. But the most powerful thing of hosting your applications is using the continuous integration delivery mechanisms that Amplify offer. And there we will see how to connect it with GitHub, but you can see how you can connect it with other providers as well, how you can do feature branch deployment, how you can do some kind of password protection and things like that. So that's super interesting for Amplify. We are also going to set up a domain so you can have the full picture on how to set up an application with a domain. Well, the globally available, I will show it because it's a natural thing from Amplify hosting. Everything is globally available. AWS, how it works, we have this CDN that is all around the world. It's our edge locations, and there is a lot around the world. So these globally available features means that we are working with this content delivery network that is has so many points of presence around the world. And basically, when you deploy a site, I will be working with Ireland region, but you can be working with any region you want. But when you deploy a static site, that means that it will get served through the content delivery network, that instead of going the request to Ireland, they will go to the closest point of presence that they are there. So AWS will take care of distributing your application around the world. So yeah, so let's get started. And I think the first thing I want to do is to get started with a basic HTML page. So I'm not a front-end developer, so whenever I need to design an application, I end up in this site. So somebody's asking, what is the easiest way to migrate a static website using Python Flask to AWS Amplify? No idea, because I never use Python Flask. So if it's static, you might have HTML files. So you will see how you can host the application now when I show you, and maybe that answer your question on the specifics of Python Flask. But I don't know how Python Flask works. But today we are going to see a basic application like the one I'm going to show you now, then Hugo, then React application, Gatsby if we have time. So I hope that gives you like enough opportunities to understand how this works. So, as I said, I'm not a front-end developer, so I don't know how to make websites. So every time I need a website that looks pretty, I go to this website called HTML5 App, where you can get really nice templates for free. So I would love that in the chat, you can tell me which template I should use for our website. We have the paradigm shift, the massively ethereal. Which one you like? Let me know in the comments. So we can pick one and download it. They have here the amount of downloads that they have. Let's see. This one has over 200,000. That's quite a lot. Oh, this one is the most downloaded I mentioned. Oh, we need to agree on something. Somebody's saying story, other one is saying paradigm, ethereal. Let's see. We need more votes. We have the editorial, the 40. Oh man, there's so many. Which one I should pick? Let's wait for another comment. 40. Oh man, paradigm. Okay, the paradigm goes to 2 votes. So let's try that one if I can find it. It's the first one. So let's download that one. And it will wait for it. And I will open it and I will throw it in here. So I will open this so you can see how it looks. And Because this is not a thing on learning how to do websites. I will not show you how to do it, how you can modify this. This is a talk for another another episode, or not, maybe even AWS episode. But this is how it looks. This is a template, so it's missing the images, so you can only see these kind of placeholders. And this is basically all made with HTML. It looks pretty. And this is what we are going to deploy to Amplify. So if we go to the downloaded file, we can see here, and we can see HTML, and then a lot of assets and images. Basic HTML static page. So now we go to our AWS Amplify. And for that, I'm going to use this account that I have here. And the first thing we want to do whenever we want to use Amplify is to have an AWS account. So in a previous episode of Let's Code, I think it was Cobus and Jean show you how to create an AWS account. If you have not seen that episode, let me know. I will try to dig the link for you and paste it in the chat after I finish this, because I cannot multitask that much yet. But if somebody has the link, put it in the chat. So if you have an AWS console, when you open it for the first time, you see something like this. Sometimes I think it looks a little bit scary. There is a lot of services, but forget about that and just focus on this bar. In here, you can find whatever you are looking for. And in this case, we are looking for Amplify. So we open this, and this is what you can see the first time you open an Amplify. I need to keep on drinking tea because my throat just dries so much. So here we can see that if we want to develop with Amplify framework, this is what we are going to do next week. Or then if we want to deploy our applications with the Amplify console, then we can get started clicking this button. So let's do that. And here we have the different ways to get started with the Amplify console. We will see how to use the GitHub option in a few moments. Yeah, Ostanovebo. I'm so terrible with names, so sorry about that. Yes, Amplify looks very simple to use. It's a very simple service, and it's intended to simplify a lot the usage of AWS, because the idea is that you can, in this case, host your applications with really don't need to worry a lot. And I think it really gets its work done. So as I said, there are different ways to get your code. We will look at the GitHub integration. It works the same with Bitbucket, GitLab, or Code Commit. And then we have the one to deploy without Git provider. That is the one we are going to start now, because we want to do the simplest way possible. Then if you want to have some examples and you don't want to get the code from HTML5, or you want to see something more interesting, go and check the examples or start something from scratch. But we have the HTML code, so we are going to get started without the Git provider. So the first thing we need to do, like everything in life, we need to name them. And that's hard always. Let's call it... So somebody's asking about WordPress. Well, you cannot do Amplify with WordPress. I think in the previous episode, they show, Cobus and Sean also show how to do light sail with WordPress. So you can go and check that one out, because there you can see how to do the WordPress integration. This works very well with React. Well, this is static, but if we want to do dynamic sites, we can use React, Vue, plain JavaScript, Angular, Android, iOS, and things like that. So no, I don't think it works with WordPress. So let's start by naming this, and we can say basic HTML. And then we put a name to the environment. We always need to name it. I will put it prod, because we only have prod. And then we can choose different methods to upload the files. So here we will choose drag and drop. That is, as again, the easiest way to get started. Here are our files. So I grab the folder and whoop, throw it into the drag and drop, save and deploy. and then I wait. Somebody says, thank you for the AWS Amplify series. They help me out. Yes, thank you for watching, Jaman. I love making that content. And again, next week, I'm going to talk more about that. Somebody's asking, can it auto-detect the app type based on the code? You will see that when we are doing the automatic build, there will be some auto-detection there. So kind of yes. And then finally, the last question. So somebody's asking if this is coming in Spanish. Not yet, but maybe. Maybe Spanish is my native language, and I do a lot of content in Spanish, but yeah, this might be something very interesting for a lot of people. So now our application deployed. So if we click this link, we should see that our application, our website is working. Yeah! So this took like a few minutes, and that's amazing. But there is a problem. If we want to share this, this has a very ugly URL, and we don't want that. So we might need to put a domain. So this I will do only once because it's just like, I don't have that many domains and it takes a while, but it works the same if your application is, as we did, drag and drop, or you host it with GitHub. And at the end of the video, if I have time, I will show you how you can integrate also a domain that is not in the same AWS account that you bought in somewhere else, like GoDaddy or Namecheap or even other AWS accounts. Somebody asked, is Amplify, can Amplify work with CloudFront? It's working with CloudFront. So everything that you deploy within Amplify, it uses CloudFront in the back. So that's why we use the Amazon CDN, that is the Content Delivery Network, that is our CloudFront service. So yes, definitely it works with that. So let's go to the domain management. And here we can add a domain. I already bought my domain, so I don't need to spend 2 hours trying to decide something. So I will add the domain here, and I will use, these are the 2 domains I have in this account. I will use the FooBar.codes.cloud. And if you have the domains already bought, then you will see them here. If you want to buy a domain, you can use a service inside the AWS called Route 53. And here you follow the steps. It's pretty simple to buy a domain and get started. So when you have the domain, they appear here. And then you click in the button, Configure Domain. And you decide, OK, this is the root. Whenever somebody takes FooBar.code.cloud, they go to this thing that we just deployed. Or when somebody does www.FooBarCode.cloud, they go to here. And I'm fine with that. So let's save. And then we wait for a little bit. This takes a little time because, as you know, domains always take a little time. They need to spread around the world. And here we will get our SSL certificates created automatically, so you don't need to worry about having that little kind of lock in your page. It will happen automatically when you are configuring a domain using this. So it just, everything happens, but you need to wait a little bit. Now it's configuring the certificate, and then it will activate your domain and make the change in all the different DNSs. Hello, Marcos, how are you doing? So yeah, so let's wait now a little bit, and if there is no questions, I will move to the next step because we have a lot to cover and not that much time. So I will come back to this in a few minutes. So let's go and get started with Hugo. Hugo, you might be familiar with it, is one of those static site generators that basically allow you to create blog posts. So for example, if you go to my website, it's a horrible design website. I'm not a designer. Don't judge it, but this is made with Hugo. It's not in AWS Amplify. I need to migrate it there. But all this is hosted in Hugo. I can create this type of categories, blog posts, and things like that. Very simple with Hugo. So if you don't know Hugo, then it's a great and simple way to host your website, to create your website, and then Amplify will host it for you. So Walter is asking if Amplify a kind of S3 static site plus CloudFormation in a friendly interface. You got it right, it is. And it has a little bit more features. You will see in a second how you can do builds and things like that. So if you want to get started with Hugo, you can go to the quick start and follow the steps. The first step is to install Hugo. I already did that because it takes a little while and I want to save as much time as possible. And then the next thing we want to do is to create a new site. So I will open my terminal. Oh, I have a massive font for you. Let's see how small is enough small. If I can type, I will love that. I hope you can see. Let's make it a tiny bit bigger. I never know how to make it, what is the right size. So we need to do Hugo new quick start. And this basically creates a quick start. So if we go to our folders here, now we have our Hugo site here. This is the basics. Then the next thing we need to do is to add a theme. So we just copy paste everything because I'm very bad at typing. So I just enter everything and voila, this will add a theme as well. So they're asking if Amplify was created many years ago or is new. Well, it's not old, but it's been around for a couple of years. But I will say that in the last 6-8 months, it has received a lot of love and it has improved a lot. So if you tried last year, go and try it again because it's a totally different service. It's so nice. And then we add the name to the theme so it looks pretty. And then we need to add some content. Let's add some content. Good. Now we should have a post. And then if we open this, oh, I told you I cannot type. If we open this in Visual Studio Code, we can see here are the first blog post that we just created. And it's important to do this as not a draft, so it appears, because when I was testing this, I was like, why this is not deploying? This is important. Change it from true to false, so this is not a draft. Good. Then we are ready. We can try it locally, so we can do Hugo. And this will build the whole static files for us, and you will see it in the public folder. So here, when you do Hugo. So we have a couple of options here. Either we go to Amplify, and we throw the public folder into the new Amplify project, or then we ask Amplify to build the project for us every time there is a change. And I think I want to go that way because it's way more interesting. So let's start by adding this to GitHub. Let's see if there is some Git here. No. Good. And then let's do all this. Let's put it in Git. Since I'm using Visual Studio Code, I've been not really typing the commands for GitHub, so I'm totally forgetting them. Initial commit. Okay, so now we need to create a repository. I will go to my GitHub and create a new repository, and I will say Hugo test. I will make it private because I'm going to remove this afterwards, and you are seeing the whole process, so it's way easier. But yeah, and then now we just push the existing repo into there, and we wait. And now we refresh, and now it's here. Awesome. So here's our Hugo whole thing. The public is not really necessary because Amplify now is going to build this for us. So we go to Amplify. Where is this? Here. And then we start again. Get started. And now we are going to choose from GitHub. And now when we choose from GitHub, if this is your first time doing it, you will get, you need to give authorization to GitHub to connect to Amplify, but I already did, so I saved time. But if you have not, you'll have to follow some steps. Basically, you need a token from GitHub to add it in Amplify, and phew, it works. So here you can see all my repositories, and the Hugo test appears, and then the branch appears. If you're working with monorepos, you can pick a folder, but we are not. So then we click next. And here, as somebody was asking if this is the text, it realized that this is an Hugo, and the build command is Hugo. So this is created for us. This is the build steps that will be run in our deployment step, because this is going to grab all the files that are in GitHub whenever there is a change, and it will basically build it for us. So yeah, so now we can click next, and then save and deploy. Let's wait. And let's cross our fingers that this works, because I'm a person that do recorded videos when things fails, and then I can edit. But now when it's live, I cannot. So somebody's asking what is the difference between Netlify and Amplify. Well, Amplify is inside AWS. So it doesn't only allows you to host your applications, it allows you to do way more things that we are going to talk in the next video. I don't know Netlify that well in order to do a comparison, but definitely it's inside your AWS console, and it's supported by the whole AWS infrastructure. All the edge locations, I think there are 250 edge locations for our CDN, so it's pretty impressive. Somebody's asking that AWS Amplify is priced per build minute. What is a build minute? That is such a perfect question for this time. Thank you very much, Desiree. You are such in a good time. So build is this step. Basically, when we are building, what it means is that this is happening. The first thing is going to provision. Basically, it's going to create a Docker image. Basically, it's a small container for you with that characteristics. And every build will get its own host instance. Everything is isolated. And the build time is the time that it gets, for example, in this case, to clone the repository and build the front end. So the clone repository is getting the things from GitHub, and the front end is running Hugo in this case. So you are billed for every minute that this machine is running, because this is a CICD tool that you need to pay for. But let's look at that. Amplify pricing. Let's see. So here is the web page of the pricing. And you can see here that there is like two categories. One is the free tier. So if you are starting with AWS and your account is younger than 12 months, let's put it like that, you get 1,000 build minutes per month. And that's a lot for static sites. You don't need to worry. And then you have 5 gigabytes of store content per month. So if you store 5 gigabytes, you're good. And then you have 15 gigabytes of served content per month, how much you're serving out of your website. If your account is older than that, then your build per minute, as Desiree was saying, you are paying 0.01 per build minute. So how long this takes is what you are getting billed for. And then you are paying for the hosting as well, how much you're stored and how much you are served. So yeah, and there are some examples here so you can understand this a little bit better. But definitely check it out. This is important, and the build functionality of Amplify is one of the biggest, most interesting features that it has. So It's super interesting to explore, and in some cases it really helps you out. So for example, for Hugo sites, it's so easy. You just change GitHub, put a new commit, and then voila, it's working. So let's go and open the site. So here you can see the Hugo site that was just deployed with the post that we just created. So what we can do next? So maybe we can start working a little bit with a React application. I think that's always interesting. So we can see a little bit more feature branches and other interesting things that we can do with multiple environments. So let's go back to our console, clear that, and let's create a small application. This is the simplest way to create a React application. npx create React app, and that will create a small application called my demo SPA. So this takes a while. It downloads all the internet for us. So I will sip my tea and wait. And if you have a raw question, now is a great time because I cannot do anything. Oh, by the way, did I show you what happened with our domain? I don't think I did, because this is done. So our domain is ready. Let's go and check it out because we have not tried. So let's go and open that. Yay! So now in FooBar codes.cloud, you can see my website. You can go there right now before I remove it. Is the CloudFront distribution visible when you create the Amplify application? No, it's not. But when you will be, you will get the link of the CloudFront distribution when you are configuring domains that are outside of your account. So there, if you want to see the URL, you will get it. But no, that CloudFront distribution is not visible. At least I imagine. Well, you can check it out, but I don't think it's visible. We are about to do the React thing. Yes. So now it downloaded. So let's do, what is the name of our application? My demo. And here we can open it with Visual Studio Code. And here we have a small React application, like basic things. So we can open this in the terminal and do, where is my terminal? Where are you? Terminal. Here. npm start, and you will see the basic application. Oh, you will not, because it opened in a different browser. You will see the basic React application. Yeah. So this is what we are going to do. So let's go and put it in a GitHub project so we can start playing with this. I will stop this and do git init. And then we can basically push everything. Oh, it's already pushed. Good. Let's create a repo. If you are very used to using Git with the keyboard, don't hate me right now. I just do this very boringly, but React test CICD. And I will make it private and shoof. Yeah, since I've been using the Visual Studio Code, I forgot all the GitHub commands. It's so lame, but well, that's true. And I will push this to the GitHub project. Yeah. Here it is. And now we go back to Amplify, and we go and create a new application. Connect app with GitHub, same. But now, instead of using our Hugo thingy, we are going to use React. Next. And you see again here the build and test change. And because this is a React one, we can add a little bit of, we can play a little bit with the CI/CD thing here. So we can add some testing, and we can add some features that React provide us for the CI/CD. So I will add these commands here. If I can type, it will be lovely. CI true yarn build, and then CI true yarn run test. No, the other way around, build and then test. And I don't think I need that. I hope I don't. Let's see if this works. If not, we fix it. And then I deploy. So now we don't have any tests. So this should, well, we have one test. So, but the test is working. So if you go to this thing, you can see in the source, there is one simple test. Now it's working. It's checking if the web page says Learn React and the web page says Learn React. So this should work. So this will do all the thingy for us, and then we can start making this thing fail. Let's see. There is some questions. On the backend, if this using code build or on code pipeline, well, not really, because you cannot see them in the code build or code pipeline, but yes, it looks similar. So I imagine it might be using some underlying technology that we are all familiar when you're using code build and code pipeline. But yeah, the build commands look similar, and it looks very similar. And I totally agree with you that it looks very similar. So basically, Amplify is, there is a lot of things that are kind of new, but then there is a lot of things that are just nicer and easier visualizations than the existing services from AWS. So to make your life easier, and you don't need to learn those services from scratch. So that's why maybe you find it that is kind of familiar, but you will not see it in your CloudFront distribution, or you will not see it running in your code build because it's running somewhere in the AWS space. So I hope I typed this build correctly. If I did, then this should work. Well, it failed because I typed something wrong, but it's okay. Should be able to edit these. Whoop. Yeah, I always have problems with live coding, so let's try it again. Then we can redeploy. That happens when you really don't test everything before starting the live recording. But if I do it before, then it's very boring for me because I have to repeat myself. I'm just jumping on this, and I have some notes of what things I want to achieve, but life shit happens. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer while we wait for this to fail or to work, because YAML is an interesting animal, and I have a lot of problems with it all the time. So let's see if it works. But you can see here the whole logs are visible for you, so you can read them. Not like I just did, that the thing failed and I didn't read why. So yeah. Let's see. It seems that it works. At least the build is running. The test is running. Good, I wrote it right. The test passed. We have one test, and then everything is building. Phew. So let's wait. Yep, now it's working. One thing I forgot to mention is the different tabs that we have here. So here there is no test has been configured. You can follow the walkthrough. The tests that has been configured are the ones in the yarn, but not in the test space. Then deploy is basically deploying that website into CloudFront. And then the verify is pretty interesting because it's showing you like different thumbnails, different images of photos or screenshots, how it says here, I should read, how your site looks in different devices. So it does some kind of testing for you. At least of the main page. So this is really helpful. I like this feature a lot. So good. So now we have our app kind of ready. So one thing I want to do is, if I go where I need to go, now is the time to click everything and try to find that feature. So here, the branch auto detection. So let's edit this. So our main branch is main, but then we want to do this feature detection. So every time we have a branch named feature something, this should create a new kind of space for us that that is different from the main, that is our production. So we can test that feature internally and make sure that everything is working. So we can do feature, and then I think it's what's that? Feature, yeah. So match name starting with feature, use feature and 2 asterisks. Feature and 2 asterisks. Okay. And then we want to give access control. So we need to give a username and password. So I will call this Marcia, and then I will put a secret password here that I will never say. And then whenever we remove that branch, I want it to get disconnected. So the environment disappears. Somebody's asking me yarn versus NPM. I don't have an opinion. I'm not that an expert on these topics of yarn or NPM. Just pick the one that works for you. So yeah, so let's do that. And let's create a new branch. Yeah. So let's do, oh, not wrong place, wrong place. Clear here, and it was git. Marcia, can you write? Check out branch feature test. Let's create a new branch. Yes, git branch. Yes, git push origin feature test. So now we should have this feature in the cloud. Let's see. In the cloud, no, in GitHub. So we have 2 branches, and we have feature test, and yeah, let's see if this started our Amplify thing, or I just put random names to it. Let's refresh. It might take a little while, or I just screw it up when we configure it. Everything is possible. As I said, I didn't try this first, so I know the features, but I'm learning with you. So that's kind of how it goes. So what it was in general. So feature, we call it feature test. I wonder if I need that slash. If you know, leave me in the chats. But the branch should appear eventually if you get it right. I have done it in the past. So just bear with me with my stupidity. This is the time you start doing all these things. Then you are like, okay, does it work? Does it work? Does it work? And then you push 20 different branches. Yeah, that's me. Yes. So yeah, I need to push it again. So now our branch is here, and it will be building. That's what I wanted to show. If we remove this branch because we merge it to the main branch, then voila, the branch disappeared. And when this builds, I will need to put my super secret password in order to access it. So this is public. Everybody can access it. We can configure the domain, but the other one will not be public, and we need to have the password. More things we can do. Well, we can, in the general, is there something here? No. In the access control, this is about the passwords. So now this password protection will happen to all the feature branches, because the way we configure it, But if you have other branches like dev or staging, you can manage the access independently and put different passwords as well. So everything is more secure. And yeah, then you can also enable pull request previews. And this is something really interesting, that if you have a pull request, it will create a whole environment for you that you can get the link in the pull request of GitHub. So this is something as well very, very cool to check. It's quite easy. You just enable it, and then basically it will ask you a couple of questions and it will just work. But I want to show you this with the tests. So let's go and break the tests while this deploys, and then I can show you how it works. So I told you that there was one test here. Shoop, that it was checking if the word is learn React. So maybe we need to break this and put here React alone, or learn Amplify. So then we commit that into our branch. So that's the only change. Shoop. And now our test should break the test. That should break our test. I think npm test. Work. No, it's not connected like that. Marcia, why you don't read the README or the package JSON? Test. Okay. Why it didn't work? Whatever, but it should work. Run the test. No. Interesting. It's not configured here, but it will work in here. Now this is deployed. We put the password. That's Marcia. Now let's deploy the broken test, and I want to show you how this doesn't work. It was in which branch are we? Git branch, Git. Okay. The backend tab I will cover next week when we talk about dynamic, and we will be creating the backend side with authorization. We will be creating, oh, by the way, this start kicking the build because we pushed something here. We'll create authorization. We'll use a GraphQL API. We'll be also doing, if we get time, some search and machine learning. So it's going to be an interesting episode. So yeah, that will be covered next week at the same time in the same channel that you're watching now. So now the feature test branch start building again, and this part should fail because the tests should be failing. So let's hope that works. And yeah, I'm not a front-end developer, so I always struggle with all these things. And I never read documentation. Well, I read it when I need to teach it to you, but I'm very action, so I like to try things, and so sometimes it's a little bit hard when I go live because I just want to do things. But we can see here that something is failing. Our test is failing, so that's good. Failed, and then the whole thing stopped, and it didn't move forward. So that's good. And yeah, so we have around 8 minutes. Would you like me to add a domain to this website that is not hosted in this AWS account, or you would like me to deploy Gatsby? So you choose, and choose fast because we have few minutes and I want to show you something before we wrap up. So domain that is not configured in the Amplify, in the AWS account. For example, you bought it with namespace, GoDaddy, or whatever, or Gatsby. Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. Start choosing, and I will do what gets the most votes at the first minute. And if you have any questions, just ask them. I'm happy to answer that now. So we have the Gatsby here, or we have the domain that is not inside my AWS account. You're so shy, people. Come on. Let me know what you want. So I can deliver because we have few minutes and I would like to use them for something useful. So just let me know. DNS outside of AWS. Okay, you're fast. You told me first, you're getting what you want. So let's do that. Then let's add my screen again and I will go to the account. So we will put a domain to this React Test CICD. And for that, we are going to go to the domain management. And there, when we say add domain, you will see that there is nothing because this account doesn't have a domain. So we are going to configure the domain, and here I need to put the name, FooBar codes.cloud. I hope that's my domain. I just use here FooBar codes.cloud. That's the domain I want to use. I don't have that many domains. I'm not domain rich. So this is a domain that I have bought. I bought it with another AWS account, and what it says, FooBar codes cloud. Why you don't like it? FooBar codes.cloud. Configure domain. There. This is a domain you saw that that you saw in the previous account. I bought it with root 53, but it works more or less the same if you bought it with GoDaddy and any other tool. So here I will remove this because the root is already with our Hugo, no, with the paradigm, and here I will put React. So basically, when we go to react.foobar.codes.cloud, then it should take us to this page. Good, save. So somebody is asking if in the backend developed environment, I'm able to host a Java app with Amplify. No and yes. The way we are going to do it is using something like React. You can also use Angular. You can use, well, if you're using Android, maybe there you can use Kotlin, iOS, and then you will create the backend. And the backend will be using most of AWS services like Cognito, AppSync, API Gateway, and services like that. For Lambda, if you want to do that, then you can, yes, use Java. It's up to you. Lambda support Java. But yeah, so if you want to then do the backend separately and then put it in a container and tell Amplify and do the static side with Amplify and hook it up with the UI libraries, that's also possible, but we are going to talk about that next week. So yeah, so now basically we need to do some steps. And the first step is the creation of the SSLA certificate, then the SSLA configuration. So here we need to add some things in our DNS records. So here, the first thing we need to do is to verify the ownership of my account. So we need to go to our provider, and in this case is root 53. But this works the same with any providers. They all allow you to add registries to your domains. So you go here to your registry domains, to my account, and then you add a manage DNS if you are inside a root 53, and you create a record. You do it the way that you need to do it in your own provider. It's the same thing. You will need to define a new record. In this case, we need to put this lovely name. This is just to verify that this is ours. So if we are allowed to do this, then this means that this account is ours. This is a CNAME, and then we put an IP address there, and then we define the record. And then we can define another one, that is the one that is doing the routing. And this, again, is the same for every cloud provider. It just looks like this because we are using root 53, but if you're using GoDaddy, Namecheap, or whatever, it will be the same. Just add the records with those definitions, and then you will need to wait. Oh, so I have something already with this. So I might have added in the past. Let's see. Because I've been using this to test. So it is. Let's delete it. And let's add new records again. This will not happen to you because you are not testing with those accounts. Everything. Oh, man. Live coding. But we are almost done. At least this is coming to a closure. And we have the last record. That is this one. It already saw it, so we can basically add this. And this. Because this is in the AWS network, it works very fast, detection. If you are with other providers, then it might take a little bit more time. But yeah, so now it's activating the domain. Everything is good. We just have done this, so nothing we can do. There is some other steps here with documentation, so go and check it out. But it should be pretty straightforward. And then we can open this. It might not work yet because domain activation takes a while. Again, as I said, this is going around the world. Oh, but it works already. So yeah, that's our domain. It's configured. If we go to the domain without the whole thing, then I have my paradigm. So we have a couple of websites there. So yeah, I think we are in the hour now. I hope you learned a lot of things and you enjoyed this session. It was pretty fun for me. I always terrified of doing live coding. So thank you for being with me during this terrifying moment. I hope you enjoyed. And next week at the same time, in the same place, we will be doing the Amplify framework. We are going to do dynamic apps. We are going to use, in this case, a React app, and we are going to really go into the bone. So somebody asked about CloudFront, content from intranets. That's not relevant to this session, and we are wrapping up. But a couple of things I want to mention. If you have questions that are not related to Amplify and you want to ask, there is always around noon or 1 o'clock, depending on the day, office hours hosted by AWS on Twitch. So go and ask there. Feel free. I'm always on Mondays at 1 o'clock Central European time, but my colleagues are other days of the week, and we are always answering your questions. And this video is going to be stored in YouTube, in the FooBar codes YouTube that you can see in the screen. So go and go revisit it. I will try to put all the links of the different resources that I talked today. And if you have any other questions in the comments of that video, I will be taking the questions later. But yeah, thank you very much and have a lovely day. It was really good that you joined me today. Thank you.